campus.
I mean, an electric dynamic player who's going to put himself in the best position to be successful on the field and help contribute to the success of the Gators, and make sure that I represent the program well, not only on the field, but off the field in the classroom, and making sure I'm disciplined and doing everything that I need to do.
Brown continues his family legacy, joining the Gators as his father played receiver and defensive back for the Gators from 01 to 05. It's 89 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL. Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Training camp week.
Woo, that's where we finally made it to, ladies. We started the show April 1st. Many people thought it was an April Fool's Day joke. It was not. We are still here. But we have done this show now every day for the past few months, and we have not gotten to talk about actual football that we've been able to see. And that all changes on Wednesday.
And if you don't want to read my chicken scratch that inevitably I will tweet out after the program, we're projecting the 53-man roster today. We're going to do a pre-training camp and then a right before cut day edition, Lauren Brooks. We're getting after it bright and early. I have a good joke from you, courtesy of none other than 1010XL MMA analyst Bo Valentine, which is, of course, Kevin, my boyfriend. If tomorrow is Camp Eve, what does that make today?
Camp Eve.
Camp Adam. Get it? Adam and Eve? I don't know. I'd never heard that one before. Apparently his dad's been rolling with that dad joke for quite some time. So please rate my jokes on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures or the YouTube MyBookie Digital Studio.
So it's been such a fun off season, and then I felt like people, because it's been so many good things, the moment that we saw that Eric Armstead was placed on the physically unable to perform list, but the active one, but I felt like all those negative, pessimistic Jaguars fans, that was something that they got to cling on to on Saturday when that news was rolled out.
Yeah, and it was funny because our media group chat here at 1010 kind of blew up a little bit. Because somebody was like, oh, should we make a graphic for this? And I was like, quite honestly, no, because this is expected. He is coming off of surgery to repair a torn meniscus that he did play on. And you can play on a torn meniscus, and he did play on it during the Super Bowl. But he is coming off of surgery in late February, early March. It makes sense that, you want to ease him back in at 30-plus years old. And I actually said it to Kevin. I was like, do you think people are going to go crazy about this? And then I opened up my phone, and there it was, everyone losing their minds. And look, it's okay. I know you see he has to, start the season on PUP. Like, oh, my goodness, Trent Baalke signed another hurt guy. No, this was all known. He's not hurt. He's recovering from surgery. And I don't think you want to rush him back like I'm seeing across the league right now. There's plenty of players coming off of torn Achilles, torn ACLs, that I'm kind of surprised aren't beginning the season or at least training camp on the PUP list.
Well, I was about to say, it's not just this fan base. Every fan base starts to panic because you also forget. It's been so long now since the football season ended, and some teams that have it even longer if you didn't make the postseason. And so you forget how many players actually were injured or had to have or were playing on injury and then ended up having to have surgery. Because at this point, we're like 4 or 5 months away from seeing all of that. So it's an initial, but I was seeing it everywhere with all fan bases of, okay, this person's on PUP, and the comments were immediately like, oh, great, like one of our biggest signings. And I'm like, relax, like let's just relax a little bit.
It reminded me of the Mac Jones trade, right? Because that was before the rest of free agency.
Yeah, before anything else happened.
The moment, and Josh Hines-Allen hadn't gotten his extension at that point in time. And so the moment that news came out, it was like, this is the end of the world as far as Jags fans are concerned.
Yeah, and it's just we're finally seeing football this week, because once you do see football, those things aren't as big of a deal. But when you have nothing else going on in the football world other than the draft for 5 months, people start looking for things to honestly complain about. That's just unfortunately the world we live in.
Yes, unfortunately it is. So I do think Wednesday we're not going to see certainly a heavy padded practice by any means, Mia. But we at least do get to see some routes run on air, and I think that's exciting.
Yeah, which now after our interview last week with Mississippi State coach Jeff Lebby, I can't hear routes on air without thinking, routes on air, routes on air. I'm going to do the dance every time I hear that. So at the very least, you'll have lots of videos of the sweet feet, gotta eat, or whatever we put as the caption. You will see Jaguars players on the field, which is a very exciting development after 6 weeks of the dead period.
Yeah, certainly. All right. So with that said, we are going to project our 53-man roster. And I have a feeling that ours are going to be not very different, but I'm going to say slightly different. So let's start with the quarterback position. We all know Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones will be on the football team. What about C.J. Beathard?
So I have C.J. Beathard it's an interesting situation.
Yeah.
I have him on the practice squad, so you technically would release him. However, because he's a vested veteran, he would not be subject to waivers. And so he is released for 24 hours. We saw this with Blake Hance. I think it was last year or the year before where they were trying to put players on IR. And so you would release C.J. Beathard. Where it will get interesting is depending on, heaven forbid, you have to put players on the reserve injured list to begin the season. That could create a roster spot for him. Or you come to a deal with him where you say, hey, we're going to pay you the same money that was agreed upon. You will be on the practice squad, which means that, yes, if there was a team that needed your services, you would be free to leave. However, we know you love it here. We love you. Kind of a player-coach situation.
Family is also expecting, just like Trevor is.
Absolutely.
Might want to stay here.
Right, and so we will call you up if we need that extra third quarterback.
I do think the practice squad rules changing, Taylor, back in COVID has really greatly helped situations like this because before C.J. Beathard couldn't be on the practice squad because he had X number of years of experience, and now they've changed it.
Yeah, and I just bottom line to me, I do not have him on my 53-man.
Okay,
that's
so
what
none
we're
of us
doing
do.
today.
Yeah.
I've been vocal that I wish it was. I wish it was Trevor CJ, but it's going to be Trevor Mack. And I just don't think they're going to all. Some teams are carrying 3 quarterbacks, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Let me also throw this possibility out at you ladies. Let's say Mac Jones performs admirably in the preseason, since he probably will be seeing the bulk of the snaps during the actual game portion of the preseason. And let's say a quarterback goes down somewhere in the National Football League, or that weird 3-quarterback situation with Bo Nix and Zach Wilson out in Denver isn't working out, and Sean Payton goes, Bo's not ready. I don't believe in Zach Wilson. Who's to say you can't flip what you traded was a 6th-round pick? You can't flip Mac Jones for a 5th-round pick, and now you're getting a return on your investment. I could see that happening as well.
That's interesting. I honestly feel like they like Mac enough that they wouldn't trade him, even though, like you said, it would be, getting a better deal than what you got for him. But I think they really like him. That's at least everything that I've read and people I've talked to. It seems like Mac Jones is the backup and CJ is the third guy looking on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and I think there's other situations of teams that have, like, let's say a Pittsburgh with Russell and Fields. I think that situation's more likely for someone who is in that panic mode to be like, well, let's go grab a Justin Fields. And there's a few of those situations around the league. And like you said, Lauren, I think they gave up a draft pick for a reason. I think they like him enough to want him here.
And thank you 466 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures for sending us this meme of Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones with their hair switched. I cannot unsee it, indeed. And if you would like to get in on the conversation with our 53-man projections, you can submit them, 641-1010, the number to reach us at, or on the YouTube MyBookie Digital Studio chat line.
All right, so we started with quarterback. All of us have 2 quarterbacks on the roster, Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones. Now we'll go to, I'll say the next 2 position groups we have exactly the same. I could be wrong, but that's what my guess. Running back and tight end. We'll start with running back. I have Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, Dearness Johnson, Keelan Robinson. Certainly he might be more special teams this year than running back, but that's what I've got. What about y'all?
Yeah, I have 4 running backs, and the same as you. Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, Dearness Johnson, Keelan Robinson. I think it's interesting, though, because let's be real, Keelan Robinson didn't see a whole heck of a lot of touches at the University of Texas or at the University of Alabama, his previous stop before that. And so it really will be fascinating to see, especially in light of John Harbaugh's comments about you can just kick it out the end zone. Do you really need to be investing so much in your return game just because of a rule change? If that results in actually keeping a player like Keelan Robinson. But at the same time, he also was a pretty proven gunner at UT. And so I'm calling it UT, sorry. And so that's where I think he will find a role even on special teams. But don't forget, Dearness Johnson's also a pretty good special teamer too.
Yeah, I only have 3. I have Travis Etienne, Tank, and Dearness.
Oh, okay. because they drafted Keelan and because of the whole kickoff rule, and we don't really know what they're going to do, I think that's why I'll have him on mine for now. But certainly that's another thing that we'll be watching at training camp is what are they doing with this new kickoff rule and how much are they going to show us and things like that. All right, tight end, I've got 3, Evan Ingram, Brenton Strange, Luke Farrell. Taylor, who you got?
Yep, those are the 3 I have.
I figured we'd be similar in this one.
Yeah, I think Josiah DeGuara would be a similar candidate as C.J. Beathard for the practice squad, bring you up program. Ditto do little Doug EP. Josh Peterson, who is still technically on the 90-man roster. I foresee him making the practice squad as well. And you saw how important that was. If you are only going to carry 3 tight ends on your 53-man roster, we saw last season firsthand when Brenton Strange went down the weekend before the Bengals game with that foot injury. All right, next man up on the practice squad is Josh Peterson. And when instead that next person or the next man up is Josiah DeGuara, a former day 2 pick by the Green Bay Packers who has multiple starts in the National Football League, dozens, and as a matter of fact, you probably feel a little bit more confident with all due respect to Josh Peterson.
Sure, absolutely. All right, let's get it to wide receivers. This one I think is where we will certainly have varying guys' names. And by the way, Ty Dunn will join us tomorrow. Is that right, Mia?
Yep.
So he wrote, if you haven't read it yet, take some time because it is a long-form article like Ty specializes in. Wrote all about Christian Kirk and his life, and it is such a good article. So we will talk to him about that tomorrow. But all right, so wide receiver, I've got Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., Devin Duvernay, Parker Washington, and Josh Cephas.
So I have all of those except Cephas. I have Tim Jones. And this isn't technically what I want. It's what I think will happen because I personally don't think Tim Jones should take a roster spot. But I'd rather I haven't even seen Cephas yet, so this is why we're doing this pre-training camp too. This is one of the ones that could definitely change for me. I don't like using a roster spot on someone who I don't really trust him on the full offensive side catching the passes. He's definitely more of the special teams blocker type of guy. I don't really like using a roster spot on that now, especially with the addition of Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. who can also block. So you have receivers that can already do that job. And with Devin Duvernay also being a special teamer, you have somebody who's kind of already dedicated from your receiving group in that. So I wouldn't love it, but I do think that may be where they go because he's been here and he kind of he has a little bit of a reputation when it comes to that special team side of the ball, especially.
Yeah, that's the reason that I don't have Tim Jones on the 53-man roster. I do have 6 wide receivers. I have a different variation.
Okay.
I also have Christian Kirk. I have Brian Thomas Jr. I have Gabe Davis, Devin Duvernay, Parker Washington. And I do have Elijah Cooks with that 6th spot.
I went back and forth. I almost put Elijah.
Yeah, and look, the knock on Elijah was, can he play special teams at the same level as Tim Jones? That 6th wide receiver is going to be inactive at the end of the day, whether that's Parker Washington or if that's Elijah Cooks. Whoever it is, they're going to be inactive on game day. You're only going to have 5 of them dressed. I just come back to, even with the addition of Gabe Davis, which in large part will take away some of the blocking responsibilities for Tim Jones. It also helps because now it won't be a dead giveaway that you're running the ball if Tim Jones is on the field.
Yeah.
And with all due respect to Tim Jones, who can play inside, outside, can play all 3 positions, and that's something that the team values, they just don't have a bigger-bodied wide receiver. And they do not have that guy in the red zone. They kept Elijah Cooks on the 53-man roster last year. They kept 7 wide receivers. They stashed him, if you may, because they wanted to develop him, because they saw him flash in camp. I think he's going to flash in camp again, and it's going to get to a point where you have no choice, but you have to keep him around just because he does something that no one else on the roster currently can do. The Josh Cephas conversation is interesting, and let's actually pair it with Elijah Cooks, because part of why he was kept on the 53-man roster was because the Jaguars were so worried that if he was subject to waivers, somebody would claim him. Will that be the case with Joshua Cephas? I think that camp will tell us a little bit more about that. I'm not so sure the rest of the league or even, this notion of we have to keep him, we have to hide him because he's a gem. He could pop off very much, but I think after the experience last year where the Jaguars were so worried that so many of their wide receivers would be claimed off waivers after they released them, and none of them were, I think you roll the dice and see if you can get him to the practice squad.
What's interesting to me is I saw a couple different 53-man projections that didn't have Parker Washington on them.
That's interesting.
And I was like, obviously he's the guy behind Christian Kirk. We saw that last year. And while he certainly had a rookie learning curve, he's a guy who I think they have high hopes for.
Oh, very high
I'd be
hopes.
shocked if he's not on the 53.
Yeah, spoiler alert. We were throwing around in our promo meeting this morning ideas for our 1010XL Weekly. A little plug there to make sure you're subscribed if you're not, because you're going to want to be subscribed with all the Jaguars content and the Gators content and Dogs and Knowles and everybody else that we're going to have coming out every Wednesday at 1010. workshopping a little segment of like Mia's Scoops or something like that. Yeah, Parker Washington, they are extremely high on him at the Miller Electric Center. I've spoken to multiple people now, and he was among the performers during the preseason that the Jaguars staff, personnel, scouting department felt took the biggest leap of anybody in that building.
He looks really good. I mean, we've only gotten to see OTA's minicamp to this point, but he looks like he put in that offseason worth of work. He looks stronger to me, which is obviously very helpful at that position as well.
And to 298, who makes the point that Gabe Davis is the bigger-bodied wide receiver now, yes and no, because I would argue that in terms of red zone, in terms of jump ball, yes, Gabe Davis certainly can go up and get it, but not to the point of a 6'6" Elijah Cooks. I think that it is a different skill set.
Gabe has been that red zone target, and I've mentioned that stat a few times. The second most easy rate, most targeted red zone and accurate red zone wide receiver in the league the last 3-4 years. So him and Brian Thomas Jr. are kind of both that. That's why I didn't lean for making sure there was another red zone guy.
All right, when we return, we will get to offensive line and then, of course, the defensive side of the ball. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. Lots of people right now going on family road trips, so make sure your vehicle is ready. Go to BigChiefTire.com. We'll be back on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday, the local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Want more Jags? Subscribe to the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel. Looking for more in-depth coverage of the Gators? Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Need your FSU fix? Well, subscribe to the 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel. Your favorite team, one specific location.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino, though, is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home. The live casino is so easy to use, folks. Just go to mybookie.ag and click Live Casino, third from the left on the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin, just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience where the action is in your hands. And yes, the rumors are true. You don't even have to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
Denny Thompson here. Tackle burglars and protect your turf. Give yourself peace of mind catching everything around your home with Tyson Sound & Security's cutting-edge surveillance cameras. For safety and convenience, Tyson has you covered for all home cameras and security systems. I'm talking HD recording, night vision, and remote alerts all from your phone or computer. Call Tyson Sound & Security right now at 904-762-1000. Tyson Sound & Security. Security and automation experts.
Do you have clicking, popping, swelling, or pain in your knee or shoulder? This can be due to arthritic changes in your joints. Over time, you have wear and tear of your cartilage. I am Dr. George Bari, and here at Bari Orthopedics, we have numerous ways to treat your arthritis, such as regenerative medicine, including PRP and joint replacements with CT guidance for accuracy down to the millimeter. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, call us for an appointment today, or log on to BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Hey, Jacksonville Cougars, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dining with beer and wine, and delivery at Salvatore's.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and
But She's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Tired of dealing with clogged drains? What about bad smells coming from your pipes? You need to call Duck Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Duck Duck Rooter can help with any plumbing issue at your home or business. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Mia O'Brien.
Fun-loving girl.
On Helmets and Heels from noon to 2.
Likes to laugh. Lives to love. No dull moments tolerated.
Mia's quick hits are driven by Arlington Toyota on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
This is Hayes Carline for Skylife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at Skylife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. Skylife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332. Go to flyskylife.com and find them on social media. Fly Skylife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees, and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Little Old Dominion on this Monday afternoon. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Training camp arrives this week, so we are projecting the Jaguars 53-man roster on this Big Cheap Tire Monday. We've made it through most of the offense, but not yet the big uglies, a.k.a. the offensive line. I have 10 offensive linemen, Cam Robinson, Walker Little, and Anton Harrison as tackles. And then for the guard center position, the interior of that offensive line, Javon Foster, the rookie, Ezra Cleveland, Mitch Morse, Brandon Sheriff, Cooper Hodges, Luke Fortner, and Tyler Shatley.
I have 11 offensive linemen that I'm keeping.
Yeah. She had an extra player since she only had 3 running backs.
True. So Cam Robinson, Walker Little, Ezra Cleveland, Tyler Shatley, Mitch Morse, Luke Fortner, Brandon Sheriff, Javon Foster, and then I have Anton Harrison, Cole Van Lanen, and Cooper Hodges.
Oh, so your extra one, Cole Van Lanen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'll be surprising to me if he makes the roster, but certainly if they keep 11, then he would.
Yeah, after what the lines look like the last 2 seasons with the injuries, you got to have guys.
Okay, do you want the line that I believe or the line that I think it's going to end up being?
You have to what you think it'll look like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think if they could keep 11, they would. I think that they are in an interesting situation right now where you have to keep the 2 centers between Mitch Morse and Luke Fortner. And Mitch Morse is the starter, by the way. I don't know why we have to defend that, but Mitch Morse is your starting center.
Are people saying he's not?
Yeah, I've heard a couple people saying it's a competition. No, Mitch Morse is the starting center.
Okay, well, he'd win anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get that passed.
I mean, I hope it's a true competition as far as Morse is pushing Fortner and Fortner's pushing Morse. Right. But yes, Morse is the starter. They paid him to be the starter.
Yeah, let's get over that. The Cam situation, I mean, it is what it is. The fact that Walker Little will be entering a contract year as a swing tackle as of this juncture, the fact that Cam Robinson is entering a contract year, has not restructured his deal, is slated to be one of the highest paid players on the roster.
Hasn't been super available.
Hasn't been available.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run through what I have.
Yeah.
Okay. I have Walker Little. I have Cam Robinson being traded. I have Ezra Cleveland. I have Mitch Morse. I have Brandon Scherf. I have Anton Harrison. That's your starting 5. My backups are Luke.
Pause. Sorry. If Cam gets traded, who's your starting left tackle and who's your starting right tackle?
Walker Little is your starting left tackle, and Anton Harrison is your starting right tackle. They've been very pleased with Walker's development and his offseason and his availability. Luke Fortner is your backup center. Tyler Shatley is cut. Sad. Cooper Hodges, Blake Hance, Stephen Jones, Javon Foster stashed on reserve IR. That's what I believe. You asked what I believe. Those are the 9 that I believe. They not only are very high on Stephen Jones, I've spoken to people around the league who are very high on Stephen Jones. They like what they've seen. Javon Foster is going to need to prove something to them in this training camp period. It was a little bit of a bumpy first few weeks for him during the OTAs, not because he wasn't physically ready, but there was definitely more of a learning curve, I think, than many people anticipated for him. And so that is where they've been very impressed with Stephen Jones's progress. This time a year ago, they were very impressed with Cooper Hodges' progress. They found a spot for him, granted on the reserve IR, to make it through to that 53-man roster and to keep him around, and they believe he is the heir apparent to Brandon Scherf. But I think they will find a way to get Foster, because Foster's a draft pick at the end of the day.
You're not going to spend a 4th rounder.
Right, and then Stephen Jones was an undrafted free agent, although they had
another fail.
They had a draftable grade on him, and so they're not gonna cut him. But I just can't get away from thinking they're going to find a spot for him. They just have seen more from Stephen Jones than him up to this point. And again, he could show out in camp and you say, you know what? We do feel comfortable that he's the swing tackle. At the end of the day, though, you gave Blake Hance $2 million, and it would cost more to release him than it would to retain his, basically you would incur a larger amount of money to release Blake Hance than you normally would for any other lineman. And
I refuse to believe that we're going to live in a world where Tyler Shatley's not on the Jaguars.
Listen,
they just re-signed him in the spring.
Yeah, and it also cost them nothing to cut him. I mean, he's on the league minimum. Again, it's going to cost them $2 million.
The good guys. I don't care what they spent personally between those two guys. You want the better of who's going to and who can play the most when it comes to that swinging around. So that's what I think they're going to focus more on.
And they believe Blake Hance can play all 5 spots. And in the zone blocking scheme that they are looking to implement, there are concerns about can Tyler Shatley be as athletic as an Ezra Cleveland if he's to step in for Ezra Cleveland in a pinch. And so, listen, it breaks my heart. Tyler is one of my good buddies in that locker room. But this is truly a numbers game. It's a good issue to have, that you have so many guys who can provide quality depth for you. Now, can you find that starting 5? That's where we'll see what happens.
I will be really intrigued to see what happens with Anton Harrison if Cam is not here, because my gut tells me that they also would like to try Anton at left tackle. Yeah, because obviously he was their best offensive lineman last year. They're planning for the future and things like that. But do they like Walker at right tackle? Probably not as much as Anton.
And here's the thing, too, with Walker. You view his situation similar to Ezra Cleveland's last year, where Ezra, if he had stayed healthy in Minnesota and if he hadn't fallen out of favor with a new regime, he's commanding, we're talking double digits. I mean, he's getting, $11 million, I think, or what's it, 15? I forgot what his exact number with the Jags is. He's getting the package that you're seeing the Carolina Panthers handing out to their guards to try to fortify that offensive line. He's getting that dollar sign. He obviously got hurt. He got traded to the Jags. The Jags feel like they got him on a discount.
3 years, $24 million with the Jags.
Right, exactly. And comparatively to the Robert Hunts of the world, that is very much a discount if you believe that Ezra Cleveland is in the same stratosphere as one of the highest paid offensive linemen in this offseason. With Walker, do you feel like, because, again, he was a draft pick, he was a second-round draft pick, he's been available when he's been called upon, do you feel like the organization says, you know what, we got to see what we have in him? Because he's 5 years younger than Cam, and we got to know now. 4 years younger than Cam. We got to know now. If he could be the guy, he has this year to prove it. And if he balls out to the point that he goes out of your price range, wait for it, the Jags are top 10 in cap space next offseason, so that should not be a problem, then okay, then you have to pay him. or if he proves what he is exactly what Cam is, which is a solid starting left tackle somewhere in the, depending on the week, the 8 to 18th best left tackle in the National Football League, and you can get him a deal similar to Ezra Cleveland's. Now you have his services and him in his prime, as opposed to paying Cam again through his age 30 year.
And Taylor, my issue if they were to trade Cam, to me, in watching that offensive line, both in training camp and then obviously preseason and the regular season games, Cam is the one guy that brings that nastiness, that edge to the O-line. And not to say that the other guys aren't, capable of getting there. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't come across that, like, Walker Little just to me does not have the same type of attitude and just I'm going to rip your face off basically type of offensive line play that Cam has.
Yeah, and that's what he adds to that line. He obviously has been a high-end, serviceable one that you kind of talk about being reliable when he's on the football field. But yeah, he adds that fieriness to the line that you don't really have somewhere else, and you at least want one of those on your offensive line because you almost feel like Cam is kind of that glue. And we saw early in the season last year when he was out, the line actually looked pretty good, and people were like, okay, well, maybe we found something here when it comes to Cam Robinson wasn't playing and Walker Little was in. And so there's one thing with Walker Little. I think they are in this figure it out now phase with Walker Little. What do you have? Can he be your left tackle of the future, or is he always going to be this guy that can play in a lot of different places and he can be a good solid depth piece, but he's never going to be a starter? It's unfortunate if that happens because you want your draft picks that you draft to be able to be starters, but that is, I think this season is that time to learn that. So it would be interesting to me if they got rid of Cam. I would also, like how much money are they losing and how much are people willing to pay for Cam? Well, how much of their contract will he take? All of those things factor in. But it does look to me, at least with like the fierceness, look different when Cam's not there.
All right, we will get it to the defensive side of the ball when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Wait, what are these numbers right here for?
It's
1010XL.
Let's count to 10, all right?
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for an easy way to feed your friends and family this summer? Let your local Chick-fil-A restaurant cater your next gathering. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nugget trays, mac and cheese, and of course, gallons of Chick-fil-A tea and lemonade, perfect for a get-together of any size. Place an order through the Chick-fil-A app, online, or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. Or get it delivered directly to your door. Enjoy more of the summer season with your loved ones when you take cooking off your plate with Chick-fil-A. See restaurant for details.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 22nd, 1923, Washington Senators' future Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher Walter Johnson becomes the first to reach 3,000 career strikeout milestone.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
1010XL Weekly is out now. Mia here, and text the word weekly to subscribe to our new 1010XL newsletter and for a chance to win Jaguars and concert tickets. Get an inside look at local sports, trending players, station info, and chances to win prizes all year long.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Big Chief Tire Monday. We are projecting the Jaguars' 53-man roster. We've done the offensive side. Now we'll get to the defensive side of the ball. By the way, I got a question over the weekend, and the person was like, "So I don't love sports. I like sports." I was like, "Okay." And they're like, "So should I listen to your show, or are you guys like too in depth? Like, do you talk in an entry level fashion, or do you get too into detail?" And I was like, I think we're a mix of both. We try to explain things if they need an explanation, and we also certainly can talk about things on the other level. How would you have answered that question? I thought it was a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. I would describe it, and it's so funny because I'm also like conducting interviews for internships, and like I always have to explain to people, just because you're passionate about a Super Bowl party doesn't necessarily mean you can work at 1010. Like, you need to be able to know what's going on in the sports world. You have to be able to know the difference between a 4-3 and a 3-4 base defense at the very least. So I would say we make it accessible. I think that's make it bite-sized. I was always told that, well, certainly we are appealing to diehards, whether that's here on radio or whether during my time in local television. At the end of the day, you're appealing to Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who are driving around in their car right now, or they're watching the local news at night. And while they may be fans, they also like things to be digestible for them and for little Johnny, their son, who may be watching as well.
Mm-hmm. I just want to mention this really quick before we get into this next part, because the NFL, their top 100 countdown begins today, and they posted a little sneak preview of the players 100 to 81. And when I say a little sneak preview, literally they only gave one of the players in that, but it's Trevor Lawrence at 94.
Oh, okay. So he is a top 100, and we'll be interested to see if there are other Jaguars on there.
I want to see who's ahead of him. Yeah. That'll tell
the quarterbacks.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And even
we know CJ Stroud will be ahead of him.
Yeah,
put it that
right,
way.
exactly. And just
I saw some lists getting snuck out because they'll show the coach's actual writing list, and there was 5 or 6 I saw that had CJ Stroud in their top 10 100 players.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me based off of how in love people are with Houston Texans this year.
And I actually want to give some credence in my travels last week to and from Dallas. I enjoyed listening to Bill Barnwell of ESPN on the Athletic Football Show with Robert Mays, because Robert is, of course, oozing confidence in the Houston Texans and how great things are in Houston. And Barnwell was just like, have you taken a second and maybe taken a step back? And he was like, but why? It's going to work. And he said, you're telling me that Tank Dell's ascension occurred before Nico Collins' ascension / Nico Collins was hurt that first part of the year. Tank Dell gets hurt against the Jags. We see Nico Collins take off in December without Tank Dell on the field or even a factor in the game plan. Now you're adding Stephon Diggs, who, again, may change his colors, may change his tune, and may say, you know what, I'm a team first guy. I only need 1 catch a game, and I'm going to be happy with that. But I find that hard to believe.
I mean, he doesn't get like that until 3 years, though. That's what people have to remember.
Oh, it's not until year 3.
Year 3.
Well, it's because year 1 he was the only option outside of Cole Beasley in Buffalo.
General, he's just been that guy where he starts getting frustrated after time, not immediately.
Right. And so then Barnwell expanded upon that, and he said, what is the identity of the Texans offense? And when he said that, of course, my signals go up, because what do we debate in this town all the time? What is the identity of the Jacksonville Jaguars? And he noted how Bobby Slowick inherently, because he is from the Kyle Shanahan tree, wants to run the ball to set up the pass opportunity. And, of course, part of, what made the Houston Texans spectacular was they found themselves with their backs back against the wall at times last year, and C.J. Stroud was able to air it downfield, and oh my goodness, it's so amazing. But is that what their offense is predicated and built on? Because as he noted, Joe Mixon's going to get you 4 yards per carry, and that's all well and good. But he's not Christian McCaffrey. It's not like you have this dynamic running back, and if you're going to continue to try to run the ball and still be, which the Texans were last year, a bottom 10 rushing offense, then what's actually the point? And I think in a weird way, I don't want to speak for Bill here, but as he was describing this and his reservations about the Houston Texans, I couldn't help but come away from it thinking, maybe he has concerns that they're going to do too much. It may be a bit clunky. It may look like another team who at this time last year was the darling of the national media, and the offense, because they were trying to do too many different things at once, here in Jacksonville, looked clunky.
It's certainly a possibility. All right, let's get into the Jaguars' defense and our continuation of our 53-man roster projection. When it comes to defensive line, I'll start with defensive tackle. I've got Eric Armstead, who, yes, will start on PUP, but could certainly be a week 1 starter. You can relax, Jags fans. Roy Robertson Harris, Devon Hamilton, Jeremiah Ledbetter, and then the 2 rookies, Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson. We'll start with tackles, defensive tackles. Who you got, Taylor?
I have Roy Robertson Harris, Devon Hamilton, Eric Armstead, Mason Smith, Jordan Jefferson, and Adam Gotsis.
Okay. So, yeah, that certainly is a guy to, I think, pay attention to.
But I did go back. It was Ledbetter and Gotsis, where I was like, one of these have to make it, but I was going back and forth with which one. But I feel like Gotsis has just kind of been that guy for them to be he's just there. He's always there, I feel like.
Aussie. Wait. Who you got, Mia?
Okay, so I did all the defensive line together.
That's
just
fine.
because it makes it easier. So I have 10. 41
as well.
41 and 44, Eric Armstead, Devon Hamilton, RRH. We're going to call it 41 JHA too, right? Yeah, I think we are. I saw Carissa Thompson did an interview with him this weekend, and she's calling him JHA, so I think we're rolling with that. Mason Smith, Jordan Jefferson, Tyler Lacey, Travis Gibson, and then I have Miles Cole / Deshaun Dixon, because I think Dixon is an interesting project for the Jags. in that he started his career as an outside pass rusher out of Norfolk State, originally an undrafted free agent. He shifted to the interior to the defensive tackle position last year, was on the practice squad. He's a guy who they've invested a lot of time. They've developed him. And so I'm curious to see their perspective on him compared to the 7th rounder out of Texas Tech, who has measurables out the wazoo. Do they believe that, knowing full well Miles Cole is going to take time to develop, could you allow for him to be exposed to waivers to make it to the practice squad, or do you have to stash him on the 53-man roster?
Yeah, I think he'd be on the practice squad. So my edge, Taylor, Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker. When Mia says 41 and 44, obviously that's who that is. Josh Hines-Allen is 41, Trayvon Walker is 44. And then Travis Gibson and Miles Cole, also rookie.
Okay, yeah, outside I have Trayvon Walker, Travis Gibson, Josh Hines-Allen, and then Deshaun Dixon are mine on the outside. Yeah.
So I don't have Tyler Lacey on the 53, and you don't either, but you do. So what's going to be interesting is now getting to linebacker. Yasir Abdullah, does he make your 53, Mia?
Yes.
Okay.
I do have him because I think he can do a variety of things. And in the words of Doug Marrone, the best ability is availability. And you can use Yasir Abdullah as your quote-unquote change-up at the edge rusher position as an undersized outside 9 wide type guy, or you could also view him as more of a Sam linebacker in the same mold that once upon a time Kaylavon Chason really was a Sam linebacker if the Jaguars were to have gone through the Mike Caldwell era with a 4-3. And he's a 5th round pick, so a little bit more appetizing than the 20th overall pick, playing that Sam linebacker role. And again, I've said this on this program before, and I'll say it again. I believe whether it's the secondary with Chris Richard or that linebacking core, you will certainly see Foye Oluokun and Devin Lloyd getting the bulk of the snaps, but I think there will be a good rotation between the other 3 guys, Ventrell Miller, Yasir Abdullah, and, of course, Chad Muma. And I think you will see Chad and Devin rotate a little bit as well.
Yeah, Taylor, for me, it was a numbers game. I have 4 linebackers. Of course, we're all going to have Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma. Ventrell Miller, I would assume, is also on yours. I know they liked him last year, obviously, before the injury. So for me, I just couldn't get Yasir Abdullah on my 53.
Yeah, I had one less defensive lineman than you guys because I only had 10 there, and so I do have 5 here, and I have Devin Lloyd, Ventrell Miller, Yasir Abdullah, Foye, and Chad Muma.
Okay, we both have 10 for defensive line, right, total? Okay. Yep. All right, so then getting to cornerbacks, we're all going to have Tyson Campbell, Ronald Darby, Jarian Jones, DeAndre Prince, and then it's after that I think it becomes a question mark. Jones and Prince, obviously rookies. I still have Buster Brown and Christian Braswell on my 53.
That's who I have as well.
Okay.
Yep. And I think that speaks to Buster has proven that if you need a plug and play, a backup at either outside corner spot, he's your guy. He is exclusively an outside corner, and I'm very curious to see how that factors into Chris Richard and Ryan Nielsen's defensive scheme, but you need that guy, especially with that number 2 outside corner position in question as of this writing. And then for Braswell, he was, a guy who really dazzled for Heath Farwell, the special teams coordinator. He raved about him last year. He played the nickel predominantly in college. He can also play a little bit of outside. I think you could probably even try him a little bit at safety, depending on what your look would be. And so, again, it's a guy who could do multiple things and could be a key special teamer for you. And DeAndre Prince, don't forget, also was a gunner at Ole Miss, and I think they view him in that light as well here.
And Taylor, I'm glad Mia said Ryan Nielsen because I didn't mention this may look completely different because I think offensively we are all familiar with Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, and what they'd like to do. But Ryan Nielsen, this is his first season here, and so when he said there's no depth chart, it's really difficult to try and predict what he wants out of this defense.
Yeah, I have Ronald Darby, Jarian Jones, DeAndre Prince, Tyson Campbell, Monteric Brown, and then I also have Darnell Savage in my corner look because I think we'll see a lot of these guys all over, but I do think that Savage, in my opinion, could be, especially in that nickel corner or even honestly outside every now and then. But I do think he'll have some safety looks, but I included him in my corner group.
And that's going to be, we were asked about which position group is going to be the most fun to watch as far as battles in training camp. Cornerback, I think, is the obvious answer. Maybe offensive line there too, but like I said on Friday, I think we could all pen down our offensive line starters as of right now. It's the corners that I do think DeAndre Prince could end up starting outside opposite Tyson Campbell with Jarian Jones in the nickel. Like, that's certainly a possibility.
And don't forget about Gregory Jr., a guy who has the measurables. He was the darling of camp a year ago, and then he got hurt the week before the season started. And we don't know what this staff values comparatively to the previous defensive staff. And the personnel that they've been saddled with. I mean, hell, like, for all we know, they could say, you know what, maybe we do need a Josh Proctor, who many teams, including Dane Brugler's the Beast, his publication, had a 5th-round grade on out of Ohio State, and they say, you know what, he's a safety. We could play him at corner a little bit. We want to invest in a young guy. We're going to bring him into the fold. Or maybe we need an older guy. We need to keep a Terrell Edmonds around because we know him. Maybe we need to keep a Trey Flowers around because he played in 15 games for Ryan Nielsen in Atlanta last year. So we don't know exactly what their flavor of the month is / what their preferences are. And so that's where, again, it is a little bit of speculation on our part.
Yeah, and that's honestly, I originally had Greg Jr. on my list, but then I was like, I feel like I need another pass rusher, so I took off Greg Jr. and added Deshaun Dixon. So, like, to me, those, and it's all about where their focus is, but I do think Ryan Nielsen's defense and the rotation that they have on the defensive line, but especially in the secondary, it almost made me want to go Greg Jr. over that, just because I think we'll see so many different looks out there. But I also was like, okay, well, it can't just be another season of Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. It just can't be that.
So our safeties will look a little different, Taylor, because you had Savage in your cornerback room. For safeties, I've got 5. Cisco, Savage, Andrew Wingard, Antonio Johnson, and Daniel Thomas.
Yep, same.
Antonio Johnson, Andrew Wingard, Cisco, and Thomas are mine.
Okay, and then I think specialists will be one we can all agree on, unless I guess you're going Riley Patterson. There's 3 guys there. Punter Logan Cook, 100%. Ross Matsick, the all-pro long snapper. And then, of course, there is a kicking competition technically between Riley Patterson and rookie Cam Little, but I've got Cam Little.
Same. Yep.
Same.
So that's going to be that's going to be the least, I suppose, competition, again, outside of the kicker. But look, at most of the other spots, we all had a couple different positions or a couple different players on the R53.
Yeah, I think the biggest debate will be how many wide receivers do you keep, just like a year ago? How many offensive linemen do you keep? And everything else falls from there. I think what will also be very interesting is, let's say, after I said in the beginning of the 12 o'clock hour that John Harbaugh says just kick it out the end zone, the new kickoff rules don't matter. What if the Jags instead lean into that and say, well, we need more athletic guys on our kickoff team. We need less heavy packages. We need more corners. We need more wide receivers to counter this. And additionally, we need more guys with return ability, which is part of why they drafted Keelan Robinson. And I think that'll also factor into the ultimate decision on the 53-man.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. And that's why, to me, I've said, like, one of my favorite storylines this offseason and the NFL in general is that kickoff rule, because I think we're going to see so many teams doing it different too, just because everyone's trying to figure it out. And I don't think it's probably going to be until like around mid-season when we'll be like, okay, they really have a hang of this. They're going to have to try a bunch of different things and figure it out, because we've talked, and not only the return side, but also if your kicker, your punter are kicking off, and all of those little factors in that it's going to be really fun to watch that.
Yeah, I feel like for most coordinators, the offseason is fairly the same year in and year out, right? Consistent, except for special teams coordinators this past offseason. Everything was thrown into a loop as far as what they had always known about the kickoff, right? When we return, we will get it to the Open Championship. I want to know who y'all were rooting for yesterday and over the weekend. That is next on Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday. Dan Hicken.
You ever reach a point in your life where you say to yourself, this is the best I'm ever going to look, the best I'm ever going to feel, the best I'm ever going to do, and it ain't that great?
Jeff Prosser.
It builds character. It did in my case.
Mornings on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Take advantage of 0% APR on the versatile lineup of 2024 Mazda crossover SUVs. Lauren Brooks here. Choose from the off-road ready 2024 Mazda CX-50, the stylish 2024 Mazda CX-30, or the tailored-for-you Mazda CX-5. With 0% APR for 36 months, you'll find your perfect CUV. The professional non-commissioned sales team at Hodges Mazda always puts your best interests first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at hodgesmazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires July 31st, 2024.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems, gun charges, drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
What airline is now allowing their male pilots to wear makeup, paint their nails, and carry handbags?
When you call Southern Oak and file a claim, you'll be handled by our hand-picked vendors who will analyze any roof, storm, or water damage. It'll save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
British Airways has introduced new uniform policies, allowing their male pilots to wear makeup, paint their nails, and carry a purse.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows in $2.95.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
International soccer returns this summer. Don't miss Premier League clubs, Wolves and West Ham in Jacksonville for the Stateside Cup, July 27th at Everbank Stadium. Tickets as low as $35 at statesidecup.com.
Catch all the interviews and analysis of this year's ACC kickoff.
Sold out crowd, Doak Campbell Stadium.
Coverage on 1010XL is brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Local Union 234, and Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park.
There are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
The
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by JEA. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp complete their first sweep since 2019 this past weekend against the Durham Bulls. 3 home runs and strong pitching helped the Shrimp to secure the 6-2 win. The Shrimp will get back at it on the road on Tuesday in Virginia as they take on the Norfolk Tides for a 6-game series. With training camp just around the corner, starting tomorrow, the Jaguars have placed newly acquired defensive star Eric Armstead on physically unable to perform list. Jaguars reporter Demetrius Harvey spoke on Jaguars Today, believing Eric Armstead is currently their third pass rusher.
Eric Armstead's third. I mean, realistically, he's probably going to be playing end a lot of the time. He's a guy that can come in. He can play inside, obviously. So to me, he's that third pass rusher. So he's really important. He's a guy that you need to sort of have on the field at all times almost, and you have to have him in that rotation.
It's 91 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Just about a stress-free championship major Sunday that you will ever see. Xander Schauffele in at 9 under, 65. His second major championship.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
You just heard it. Xander Schauffele won the 152nd Open Championship. I want to know who y'all are rooting for. I'll tell you, I, of course, being a proud Gator grad, wanted Billy Horschel to win the whole thing. He went to sleep Saturday night as the leader on the golf course, but unfortunately, or leader in the clubhouse, I should say, but unfortunately couldn't actually win, but he played well yesterday. But once I realized that Billy Horschel wasn't going to win it all, immediately I went back to, well, I did pick Xander Schauffele, so therefore I need Xander to win.
That was the interesting part, Lauren. Like, at one point, I looked at Kevin and I was like, wow, I should be rooting against Xander Schauffele because I don't want Lauren to win our anybody but Shuffler bet.
Yeah.
But at that juncture, Tristan Lawrence was the leader on the course. And exactly. Trevor Lawrence's South African Albanian mobster-looking cousin. I just couldn't live in a world in which he was the golfer of the year per the Open Championship. And so I was like, you know what? Somebody's got to turn it up on the back nine. Billy's falling apart. It's got to be Xander because Scotty Scheffler, I mean, I don't know if there's been any reports since we came on the air as far as his back goes, but it was very clear, especially on the AT&T box, that something was wrong with Scheffler. And we know that he had some back pain here at the Players' Championship.
I'm like, we've seen that.
Still went on to win that tournament, but it was very clear he wasn't at his best. The putter certainly wasn't serving him on Sunday. I really didn't serve him the whole weekend. And so literally it was, do you want this random from South Africa or do you want Xander Schauffele? And I was like, you know what? We need Xander Schauffele because a guy who for so long was regarded as the best player to not have a major, to now have two in a 2-month span. Quite the development, especially heading into the Olympics where he is the reigning gold medalist.
Yeah, I've said it on here before. I love Xander Schauffele. He's just the type of golfer he is, the type of personality he has. There's so many things I like about Schauffele. And like you said, Mia, when it came to the storyline for so long, and I remember even around Players' time, us having this conversation of like, he's that guy who has that reputation now of like, he's always there, but he's like the Lamar Jackson where he just can't do it when it really matters in the big moments. And so I was just waiting for him to get over that hump. So it's been fun to see it not only once, but a couple times recently, him be able to do that, and especially in a moment like this. So I think it was fun. And for me, like my guy was already out, so I didn't care about that. But it was funny because at one point I looked and like the leaderboard when you were looking at it, because it was just like T. Lawrence and then like a little bit down too, it was like C. Kirk. And I was like, wow, Trevor and Christian are both at the top of the leaderboard.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I certainly thought about the Trevor part, especially because he played golf last week and was on a leaderboard. Yeah, I wore Gator stuff to church yesterday morning. Like, I'm going to get Billy Horschel through. This is going to be unbelievable for him. He's won, of course, on the PGA Tour, but never won the major or a major. And so I wouldn't say though that he like fell apart or he collapsed or anything. I think he played pretty good golf. It's just he didn't play as well as Xander did. Xander, of course, shot a 6
Xander
under
took
yesterday.
He took it and ran
absolutely.
with it.
Yeah,
And that was
he's
the
a
thing.
better golfer than Billy Ho.
Right, but I mean, Billy played well on the back nine. I'll give him that because the fact that he was able to salvage it, finish 2 under on the back, was able to finish in T2 T2 with Justin Rose. I was very happy because when he was hovering around that 3 under line and things were just not going his way. And by the way, on Saturday, he was an escape artist getting out of the bunkers and being able to save pars and save birds left and right. And that was never going to be sustainable, and especially when he wasn't hitting greens if he wasn't hitting fairways the way that he was on Saturday as well. And so you had a feeling the wheels were going to come off. I was happy that he was able to salvage it. Now my question is, where does Billy Horschel go from here? I mean, is this a new Billy we're seeing? Because a year ago, he was debating retirement and crying at the memorial after he shot an 82. And so that's where I would love for him to have kind of a renaissance in his late 30s and to kind of, turn the page. And now all of a sudden we do see him competing in majors because, I mean, he is a local guy. He does live here. He's a nice guy. He has cried a lot. The town crier, as the folks at No Laying Up like to note. But emotions
are good though.
It was gut wrenching to see, and Dan Rappaport of Barstool made the really good point, and he was out on the course that Schauffele and Scheffler were cool, calm, collected, having fun, like talking to the caddy, talking to the fans. Justin Rose, Billy Horschel, and Shane Lowry were living and dying with every single shot that they took on Sunday.
Because they aren't going to have those opportunities like a Scheffler and a Schauffele
That's
are going
true.
to have week in and week out or major in and major out. Like they know that they have to seize the day if they want to win something like that, because it's not going to happen nearly as often.
Now, is John Rahm back? Because
Yes,
I feel like
I know,
this
that's a
was
good
a
question.
conversation
Yeah.
that, people were like, he's done. We're never
Not
gonna
is
see
he back,
another...
folks. We know he was back golfing, but is he back?
Yeah, because I just feel like the conversation for so long, and I was listening to the Frangie show a few weeks ago, and JJ was like, he didn't just suck at golf all of a sudden. Like, he'll be back, just like give it some time. And then you see he played really well. It was like a very mediocre end to his round. I think he parred the last 5 or 6 holes, but he was playing really well before that. So and I know the live people don't really care that much, but it's still a conversation because he was one of the best, if not the best golfer in the world for a while, and then fell off a cliff.
Well, and it's just like with Bryson DeChambeau. He played super well, obviously wins the U.S. Open, and then was terrible at the Open Championship. And so that's, I think, the question that people always have is when you do play for live, it's not the same competition week in and week out. So are you able to keep up your incredible hard work schedule if it's a lot more lax and you wear shorts and it's only 3 rounds and there's music playing and all those things? But to me, the biggest storyline coming out of it is we can stop talking about Scottie Scheffler is the next Tiger. Let's just enjoy all of the really elite golfers in there and not constantly try to compare the next one, whether it's Spieth or Rory. Then Scheffler certainly took Tiger.
So let's get to a different debate then, Lauren. Someone's going to have to win Golfer of the Year on the PGA Tour.
I say it's Scheffler.
You say it's Scheffler, not Schauffele.
Yeah.
Taylor?
I feel like 3 months ago I would have said hands down Scheffler, but I think it's a harder conversation now.
Because one's got 6 wins, which includes a major at the Masters and a Players' Championship. The other one has 2 majors.
Yeah.
And
it finishes at the top in almost every other tournaments he was in.
And like I said, I do...
One person made more money than the other one, though.
There's also
That's
that.
how I determine it.
Right. Although, hey...
Which is Scheffler.
Well, it's also because Players has one of the biggest purse, too.
Right.
So that helps.
And I like to think of the Players as the fifth major.
Yeah. Right. I mean, Xander made over $6.5 million between the 2 majors, and that's a nice little chunk of change. But yes, pales in comparison to... yeah, exactly. I take that tomorrow. Pales in comparison to what the Players' Championship purse is. But look, I'm curious what happens in Paris over the next 2 weeks because they are number 1 and number 2 for the United States team. They are the first and the second option, with all due respect to Wyndham Clark and company. It's going to come down to, in my opinion, which one of them performs better at the Olympics. And that's a statement I never thought I would say. But let's say Schauffele repeats and he wins the gold medal again. Does that change the narrative? And would you be willing to look at Scottie Scheffler and his 6 wins on the tour and say, nah, this guy won when it mattered most more often? Because here's the thing. I want to run through for you guys. Because
Scheffler just has to fix his putting if he's going to win the Olympics.
Right, correct. Here's what I want to run through for you guys, because I was interested and I looked this up yesterday, and it kind of blew my mind a little bit. Have you ever looked at when Scottie Scheffler has won on the PGA Tour in terms of the calendar year?
Yeah, it's usually before June, although he dispelled that this year, that myth that he can't win after June.
Correct. 2022, he won in February, March, April. 23, February, March, April. Oh, no, that was 24. I jumped ahead. He only won twice last year. He only won in February and March last year, the Players' Championship being the second win. And this year, March, April, and then the 2 wins in June. I don't know. Obviously finishes top 10 at the Open this weekend. Like you said, Lauren, if he can sort out the putter, then I think that gives him a chance at Olympic gold in a few weeks. But will this become a narrative if this trend continues for Scottie Scheffler?
Everything in golf becomes a narrative.
Yeah.
I feel like that's because people don't watch golf the same way they watch other sports, at least in my opinion. People will have golf on in the background and they'll check in the leaderboard, throughout the Thursday, Friday. They don't really lock into every single moment of the golf tournament. And so when people talk about it, it's more, they just talk about names because that's what they know. They don't talk usually about specific moments unless they are a diehard golf fan.
Yeah. By the way, before he won the PGA Championship in May, Xander Schauffele only had 1 win before June in his career on the tour if the tour calendar starts in, let's say, February.
Yeah, February.
Because we love the Century Tournament of Champions. We love Hawaii. We're not counting that. That's from the previous year / the offseason. And that was the Zurich Classic, April of 22. Other than that, his wins have come in July, in September at the Tour Championship, in October, the Hawaii tournament. We're putting that off to the side. June, July, PGA Championship this past May, and now the Open Championship in July.
So Scotty's just tired. That's what you're saying.
It's all about, let's bring it back to football. What did Doug Peterson talk about?
Winning and
peaking at the right time.
But to me, it's so different in golf because one of the biggest tournaments in the world happens in March and another one happens in April. So it's not the same. There's not the playoffs. Yes, that happens in golf, but you care way more about winning those majors early on.
Well, you want to be hitting your stride though.
In the right time. Well, and to me, so one of the things that I just read too, so Schauffele's just the 4th player since 1980 to finish top 8 in each of the 4 majors while also winning 2 of those. And then outside of the majors, he has 7 other top 10s, including a T2 at the Players, where he actually led, which I feel like people forget because Scheffler just went ham on Sunday. But there's just it's going to be an interesting conversation, honestly, to have between those two, because I'm sure there's people on each side that are like, yeah, but all we talked about for the first 4 months of the year was Scheffler, but Schauffele was right there behind him in every tournament.
Taylor and I talked about the Olympics when you were gone, Mia, and I do feel like golf is way down the list of what people lock into in terms of the Summer Olympics.
Yeah, just because we see golf every weekend and it's on TV quite frequently, and you can't say the same for handball or swimming or gymnastics or judo or any of those things.
Well, I think part of that, because we get to watch golf on a normal basis, most of the people watching the Summer Olympics are watching sports that they're not seeing, just because it's like, oh, let me watch a different sport. Let me learn about this sport, or some players that I don't really know. And because you get golf every weekend, and then now with the PGA and LIV, there's a ton of golf all the time.
Is Simone Biles the most famous Olympian going into this Summer Olympics?
I think so, and I think we need to give her flowers even more. She's 28 years old, or 27, will be 28. I go back to the days of Gabby Douglas and Shawn Johnson, where once they hit 22, the Olympic Committee basically said, thanks, but no thanks. We don't care if you're still great, because we need to bring in the next generation. And Simone Biles has defied that. Now, part of how she's defied that age limit has been because she remains the best gymnast in the world, statistically speaking. But the fact that she has continued to have the platform to do so, it's incredible. And again, you got to win to stay in contention, but still.
And the fact that 4 years ago, she, suffered that issue. I always forget what it's called in gymnastics. It's the yips, obviously, in baseball. It's called something, the topsy-turvy, something like that, in gymnastics. And so we all thought...
It's like the twisties.
Yeah. Sounds like when I drink too much.
Taylor's got the twisties again. But yeah, we all thought she was going to win the gold 4 years ago. Now, technically 3 years ago, I suppose, because of COVID. They had it in 2021. But in Tokyo, and then she did suffer the twisties and wasn't able to compete. And that was crazy. And now... Yet here she is 4 years later. Most people, I feel like, would have been like, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I remember last year the conversation of, because her boyfriend is Jonathan Owens that plays for the Packers. Well, now the Bears, actually. But
Say that louder, Taylor.
But there was like this whole thing on TikTok because somebody wrote an article, and usually it's opposite. It's usually like the football player's girlfriend, and even if she's like a gymnast or a runner, like whatever, it's always like so-and-so's girlfriend or so-and-so's wife. And so the article said Simone Biles' boyfriend who plays for the Packers, and everyone was like, what? Like, this is an NFL player. And I'm like, okay, but it's Simone Biles. Like, that's a name that if you have never watched a gymnastics meet in your entire life, you'd be able to name her.
And it's interesting that she will not be the Olympic flag bearer for the United States at the opening ceremonies on Friday. In case you missed it, that honor has been voted upon by the Olympic athletes themselves. LeBron James will hold the American flag in the ceremonies, the opening ceremonies on Friday. I'm okay with it, especially in light of what the heck happened on Saturday against South Sudan. Did you guys tune into that at all?
That was embarrassing. I just saw the score flash across my phone, and I was like, wait, what happened?
I was like, everyone told me they were supposed to dominate. Everybody lied to me.
They were 42.5-point favorites, Taylor. 42.5-point favorites. And I do want to give credit to the South Sudanese team because it's littered with former elite college players. Wenyan Gabriel, who played at Kentucky, Peter Jock, who played at Iowa. Luol Deng is the president. An incoming 7-foot center who's going to be playing at Duke. He's 17 years old. He's awesome. It's not to say that, they just found a bunch of guys on the street and said, okay, you're now the Sudanese national basketball team. There was definitively some talent. And, Mariel Shayok, who played at Iowa State as well. So legitimate talent on that roster. And they did shoot 63% in the first half. And
that helps.
It's a make shots league. That's what the world is. But, very much.
What did we shoot? Do you know?
38 in the first half, and then I think 40-something in the second half. Wow. But even when they pulled ahead by, I think it was 5 or 8 points, I walked away, and then, Kevin yelled at me. He was like, come back. It's a 1-point game. They're down with 15 seconds left. And who do you turn to in that situation? LeBron James. Mm-hmm. And he's another one who we do, as much as we give him lots of flowers in sports media, you do have to give this man flowers that he's almost 40 years old, and guess what? He's the best player in the world in that sport. I don't believe there's a debate. Yes, I understand the Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic. When the moment is right, when your back is against the wall, when you need to be rallied, when you need a bucket, LeBron James is still there. And I don't know if you could say that in other sports for someone at his age.
So what's crazy to me is that Michael Jordan wasn't the flag bearer in 1992. It was someone named Peter Westbrook, and then he was from fencing. And then Francie LaRue Smith, and all it says is athletics for her sport, so I don't even know. Why was it not Michael Jordan? That I'll never understand.
It was a dream team. Magic and Bird would have had something to say, or Charles Barkley. I just watched the Dream Team documentary the other day.
To any of them as far as the men's basketball, but fencing, come on now. All right, we've got more to do on the other side. We will get it to a Taylor's Tangent, and we've got a giveaway as well. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday, the local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust. This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. He knows where the bodies are buried.
We've been approached already by the DOD, the FBI, the CIA.
We're a separate division.
Bleacher Report college football insider Matt Hayes.
I don't want to talk about it.
Noon to 3 weekdays on 1010XL.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Mia here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. I don't know about you, but folks, it's hot outside. It was 90 degrees on my dial as I drove into 1010 this morning. Good thing our friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning can help. They are a full-service AC company, and they provide full system replacements and repairs to your current system when you need it most. Call 904-862-6769 to schedule service right away. And don't forget, Duck Duck Rooter is also a full-service plumbing and septic company and can help with clogged drains, water heater installations and repairs, drain field installations, and so much more. Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing has the highest wind and impact ratings available? If you want a stronger roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Learn more at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
Hey Jaguar friends, I'm Donovan Darius, former 10-year NFL strong safety for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm hosting my free tackling technique Jaguars camp for kids ages 10 to 14 on July the 27th. This Jaguar camp will have some of my former Jaguar teammates out there coaching the kids on all the fundamentals that it takes to be a great tackler. To get involved, just go to DariusNextLevelTraining.com to sign up your kids ages 10 to 14. If you'd like to sponsor, you can go to the same website, DariusNextLevelTraining.com.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Hey folks, Curtis Dvorak here. Are you a golfer, a pickleball player, or a concert lover? Well, if you said yes to any of those, join me for the first ever Patriot Games on Saturday, September 21st at the Yards in Ponte Vedra. All proceeds benefit Operation New Uniform, which is a transition training program for service members, veterans, and military spouses. For more information, visit onuvets.org. That's onuvets.org. Hope to see you there.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe he's got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Jags fans, the Jaguars are back at the Miller Electric Center for training camp. Presented by Dreamfinder. You won't want to miss out. Stop by to get the first look at Trevor Lawrence and the team as they prepare for the 2024 season. To check out camp dates and secure your tickets, go to jaguars.com/training camp. Daily availability is limited, so lock in your tickets today.
How good is that?
This is Hayes Carlyon for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. We started the program projecting our 53-man rosters, so if you missed that, you can go back and tune in on demand. But right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Well, if you haven't seen it yet, ladies and gentlemen, the Jaguars posted a video of getting to know, like, some of the players, kind of quizzing them on 90s objects. And it made me feel very old.
Glad I wasn't the only one.
Very much old. Number one, it's already weird to hear about how guys in the NFL are born in like 2004, 2005. That's already crazy. But when you really reference time of some of the objects that they were showing these guys, and Brian Thomas Jr., a little baby, I guess, because
he was born in 02.
It's so wild to me. But anyway, so some of the objects they were showing were a Tamagotchi, which I literally lived off Tamagotchis when I was little, a VHS player, and it's so wild to think, but because somebody said DVD player, and I was like, that's it. Like, to them, that's even old. Like, to them, a DVD player is old. So that was another thing. They had like the mood rings. They had, I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff in there because it was the Tom. Oh, and then
Furby.
they were the Furby, but they were also asking about different like shows and movies. So it was like Doug and Hey Arnold and Good Burger. And I was like, this is my childhood. And you got some of these guys were like, Trevor did pretty good. I was proud of him. I was like, okay, Trevor. Yeah, I see you.
Probably because he has an older sibling, so that does help.
That does help because if you're not, truly, if you are not, there's certain things that, let's say, like my mom's generation, I remember growing up and she'd be like, mention something and I'd be like, I don't know what that is. And I'm now to that age where there's kids that don't know what it is and I'm having to explain. But the video is hilarious. If you go on any of the Jaguars social media, it'll make you feel old, but it's also kind of funny to see just how young these players on the NFL teams are now. And it also makes you start thinking, like, we mention a lot about like the immaturity of certain players, and we talk about how, a Cephas, for example, who dropped in draft stocks because of a mistake he made in college. It's hard sometimes to separate, like, it's kids. They're kids still learning and like trying to figure life out in general. So maybe be a little easy on them sometimes. But it was wild. It was a fantastic video though. As I was watching it, it also made me want to like go back to the 90s because the 90s were so much fun and they had all these like weird, quirky, fun toys and shows, but it was great. So.
I'm not gonna lie. When the pager pops up for Cam, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know that's what a pager.
You didn't know
I didn't know what that's what a pager looked like. You have to understand, Lauren. Fun facts.
You've never seen a pager in a movie? That's the weird thing. Like some of this stuff, I'm like, they had to have seen it in movies.
No, I didn't know what a pager. Like if you were to like put like a bunch of different like things in front of me, I probably could decipher it. But no, I wouldn't have known without like it saying pager.
The one that got me was the Brian Thomas Jr. not knowing what a fax machine was. And he was like,
yeah, that's a little
home
weird.
Phone? But think about it. Why would you, if you were born in 02, he said the first phone he ever touched was an iPhone.
Yeah.
And why would you ever fax anything with everything being digital nowadays?
I was saying they had this a trend for a while on, and they were asking the younger kids, okay, same thing, like different objects, but she had like a rotary phone though, like one of the, the actual twist rotary phones. And she was like, okay, try to make a call on this. Like, how would you do it? And the kids were like trying to push just in the hole, and they're like on the phone. They're like, "Call Dad." So funny.
I mean, when you think about how far we've come, yes, it's like I can't imagine even going back to the phones. And Brian still has a flip phone, as y'all know, so he still does that like T9 texting, which it just is so much work to me. But yeah, like fax machines, that was like one of the things that when it comes to college recruiting, fax machines were legit, right? Like the moment that you had National Signing Day and those faxes start to come in, like that's how you knew your team.
Yeah. It's just wild because we still have a fax machine here. It doesn't look like the old school. It's just like in your our copier now. But even that, like some of the young interns that come in, they're like, Taylor, I don't know how to fax. Can you come show me? And
Does
I'm
anyone
like, I got
still
you.
fax?
We fax. Some people do fax.
We scan. I feel like we scan.
Yeah, we scan,
now.
But this is a fax. Like I've had to fax things for Leon to certain things with
really?
the NFL. Yeah,
interesting. Well,
maybe
the
that's
NFL
where the NFL's a
great. The NFL is still out here going the old school. No, fun facts. We actually didn't have, and maybe there's other people out there in Halligan Nation that empathize with this. we didn't have the internet in my house. And mind you, instead of a garage, we have my mom's dentist office. We didn't get the internet until, unfortunately, it came to be installed on September 11th, 2001. So needless to say, they had to come back because, they kind of shut down operations, a lot of things. But 2001 was when we finally got the internet in my house and in my mom's dentist office, which is crazy to think because now her entire filing system
is all digital.
Yeah. And like it pops up, your chart is digital. And like I go back to the days, even when I was in middle school or high school, I would help her file charts. And, and it was like a hand, alphabetical. It was like a manila folder you could hold. And now here we are. That's what, 23 years ago?
Yeah.
And in 23 years, that's obsolete.
Well, even like 10 years ago, because when I first started working at Outback, when I was serving bartending at Outback, it was still paper tickets then. Like we wrote literally on a ticket, like what the order was. We'd hang it up. It would be that. And then in the midst of that next like couple years, everything turned digital. And then now you're seeing even more so. Like they're walking around with iPads at your table and that's how they scan the cards and take your order. And so just in 10 years, that's how much it's changed in that world.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think the Jags have done such a great job with their social media recently. And so I look forward to what's to come because, of course, everybody's now back in the building together.
Hey, RJ and Max, let's hit that real quick from the college football world. And speaking of new age media, our friends at Netflix.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So this time last year, we were building excitement and anticipation for Swamp Kings, part of that Untold documentary series. Well, on August 27th, around the same time that last year we had Swamp Kings, Netflix will release Sign Stealer, the documentary series on Connor Stallions and the Michigan Advanced Scouting scandal.
I thought for sure she was going to say the Houston Astros.
I was trying to think I was like, is this about to be Bill Belichick's when he was sign stealing or like sign stealing? But then I was like, Astros.
And it looks like they have Connor Stallions, so he's going to go on the record and he's going to talk about what he did and Jim Harbaugh off to the NFL, and I'm intrigued.
Hopefully they're more honest than the Swamp Kings were.
Yeah, the Swamp Kings, speaking from someone who certainly lived through that age as a Florida fan and went to a ton of games in Gainesville, of course, over those years from 06 to 08. It was a terrible documentary. They barely had
everything that they talked about.
Correct, and
I'm not even
put
a Gator
spin
fan.
on things. Right, everyone already knew that stuff. It was supposed to be salacious.
Yeah,
I mean, Herb picked his guys.
Correct,
were the ones who were interviewed.
And Netflix should have known that. All they had to do was talk to some other.
Well, they were like
roster.
British or Canadian or something. The documentary company. Matt Hayes was explaining this to me.
That's part of the problem.
It was also filmed like when he should have been coaching. Like you could see him in the Jags facility and people like practicing, and he's just doing a documentary where he's lying more.
Oh, well, yeah, that doesn't surprise anyone, does it? All right, we've got one segment to go. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
At Garber Auto Mall, we can wiggle it. Best price, we can wiggle it. Best trade value, we can wiggle it. Best payment, we can wiggle it. Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. With 8 American brands, we can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or online at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, 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 Garber wiggle.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Friday on The Franchi Show. Tune in for the House Call segment brought to you by Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Rehab. Join the discussion as a JOI expert tells you about hip replacements. JOI, where the pros go.
Hey, David again with Royal Pest Services. TAP Insulation stands for thermal, acoustic, and pest control. Keep your home cool, noise out, and pests dead. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to schedule a free inspection.
I've known Glenn Coleman for a long time as a friend and a lawyer. Persistent and fair, Glenn and his firm have represented clients from North Florida and South Georgia for over 40 years in all kinds of personal injury cases. If I had such a case, call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's best options. Pick it here. Watch for Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan is brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
Catch all the interviews and analysis of this year's ACC kickoff.
Sold-out crowd, Doak Campbell Stadium.
Coverage on 1010XL is brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Local Union 234, and Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Take it here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
This is Chelsea with Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors. Here's what people are saying about working with us.
Installers were professional, courteous, and efficient.
Great customer service. On time, explained the process, and walked me through the installation. Amazing team.
Our experience with Renewal by Andersen was outstanding from the beginning to end.
Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com.
License number CGC 1527613.
Renewal by Andersen, custom windows and doors.
Soccer fans, don't miss your chance to see teams from the English Premier League compete in the Stateside Cup right here in Jacksonville. Competition will be fierce when Wolves and West Ham United take the pitch under the lights at Everbank Stadium July 27th. It's Premier Soccer at a premier venue for one night only. Tickets are going fast. Buy yours today at statesidecup.com.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. It's Matt Hayes. Sick of that slice? Tired of those three putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with the Waco 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major, year one. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just about 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy among your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist pumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. 1 segment to go here on a Big Chief Tire Monday. All right, so ACC Media Days kicks off. I do feel like because ACC decided to butt up right against training camp, that not as many people are paying attention to it.
But here's the interesting part, Lauren. The storylines are probably there. We've had multiple Heeligans text in asking what we know as far as will FSU and Clemson be able to get out of their deal before August of 2025? Jim Phillips is meeting the media right now, folks, and I'm sure he's going to say a whole heck of a lot of nothing outside of the fact...
I'm trying to keep the conference together.
Right, exactly. Outside of we're so excited to welcome our 3 new members who are not along the Atlantic Ocean. They are along the Pacific Ocean, or at least 2 of them are. And so, yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what the storylines coming out of this are because, yes, to your point, Lauren, maybe they try to just sweep it under the rug and be like, okay, nothing to see here, versus being center stage last week at the circus that is SEC Media Days.
So yeah, one of the quotes I just saw, it says ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips says there are limits to what he can say about the ongoing lawsuits by FSU and Clemson, but they will continue to fight.
Yeah, it's such a messy public, and I would call it a divorce, but they haven't gotten to that point yet. They, of course, FSU and Clemson, the Magnificent Seven, as it were, wanted the divorce, but right now that's not legal. Like, you're technically not able to leave your conference, and so it's very messy. So at 3 p.m., FSU head coach Mike Norvell will meet with media alongside defensive tackle Joshua Farmer, defensive end Patrick Payton, and offensive lineman Darius Washington. Of course, if people missed the story, DJ Uiagalelei, the quarterback, decided not to go. He wanted those other 3 players who have been in Tallahassee longer to be able to take the center stage with Norvell.
Actually, right on cue, thank you to our friends at warchant.com for keeping us abreast of the very latest up in Charlotte. Commissioner Jim Phillips did bring up the legal disputes with FSU and Clemson, said he can't discuss specifics, but, quote, I can state that, this is what you just said. Yeah,
we'll continue to fight.
We will continue to fight for the ACC. Ira continues that don't know if it matters or will matter, but this is the most confident Jim Phillips has sounded at any of these things since the SEC and Big Ten started going on the offensive and expanding to become the so-called Power 2.
Well, I mean, you have to, I guess, at least fake it right now. You don't want people, it's already messy, like you said, Lauren, and you don't want people to think that you have no control at all over what's happening, which in moments it kind of feels like he doesn't.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, FSU stays. That's my guess. I know that that's what a lot of people have been reporting as well, that would be their guess because, again, as far as the courts are concerned, they haven't found anything that says FSU should be able to get out of the grant of rights that, again, runs until 2036. And I always go back to the point that FSU signed and all these other schools a few years ago signed this, right? Like
you agreed to this.
Yeah, you agreed to this.
You knew what it was going to be.
Right.
You knew the length of the duration of the contract. Yes, you didn't know what the world and the rest of the media rights landscape was about to become, but you agreed through 2036, which honestly...
You shouldn't have.
Naive.
Yeah.
You've got players in the NBA. Everyone in the NBA is out here signing one-year deals. Yeah. You got players in the NFL that sit out on the sidelines until October so they can pick and choose
where they
the competitive, the team that's in the heat of the playoff race that they want to join. Yeah. So, look, this is on you for thinking that the world would still be the same 20 years later.
Yeah.
It's not.
Definitely not the same.
More from Jim Phillips. There have been 6 months of distractions, end quote. Says he deals with some part of that every day. He and his staff also have to focus on the work at hand.
Interesting. Well, you mentioned about the issues, obviously, that are ongoing with the ACC. There are some also issues when it comes to the NFL and some players that potentially may hold out. So y'all tell me, I'll give you a name. You tell me whether they hold out and do not practice in training camp until they get a new deal or if they will actually report to Tua Tagovailoa.
In light of the Jordan Love news this morning,
yeah, Jordan's not practicing.
He shouldn't practice.
Yeah. I think they'll be very on pace as like the same type of thing. And I think the moment we see one of those contracts drop, the next one's going to be very close behind.
But then what about Dak Prescott?
Dak's just going to be chilling for a while, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tua and Jordan will get new deals, whether it's before training camp, because that needs to be in the next, say, 48 hours or so, or whether it's after. That part is to be determined. Speaking of that, Tyson Campbell, by the way, I thought he would already have had a deal by now.
Yeah, and I heard
that was the one we thought was going to be first.
People. That's what part of me, knowing that the Packers and Kenny Clark just agreed to a deal last night or 2 nights, whatever night over the weekend that was, after they reported, part of me thinks we may hear something in the next 48 hours. I could be completely off base, but then I don't know, but they were working towards it. We also know that
felt
Trent,
like the train was going in the right direction.
It felt like it was right there.
Yeah.
Trent Baalke does not negotiate contracts mid-season, so if you don't get it done before
We're waiting
Wednesday,
until postseason.
right? Exactly.
Which you're hoping is deeper than last year.
So veterans report tomorrow. So Tyson Campbell would have to report tomorrow. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's hammered out then. Just personally looking at the tea leaves, knowing how close they were, unless something dramatic happened. Which once upon a time they had to deal with Evan Ingram in February of 23, and then they had to wait till July to finally find each other on both sides.
All right, you mentioned Dak Prescott. One of his teammates, CeeDee Lamb, the Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. Does he report to camp or hold out?
CD, I could see holding out.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, especially because another name that I know is about to come up is going to be Brandon Ayuk. And if Ayuk holds out, I could see CeeDee Lamb holding out.
Well, also some of the contracts that were given out this offseason to wide receivers, CD's looking at those and is like, hold up, where's mine?
Absolutely. Another wide receiver, Amari Cooper of the Browns.
I think he'll go.
Yeah, I mean, what do you, no offense. I mean, you're Amari Cooper, and he's entering, his year 30 season, I think? What do you... Yeah, he's already 30. Yeah, he's already 30. What are you holding out for?
Yeah, I think he'll still be out there wanting to be a part of things, but I could see it getting messy as the season goes if they're not getting closer to anything.
Brandon Ayuk, we all said holds out, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And Adam Schefter is on with Pat McAfee right now, and he said the same.
Yeah, that would not surprise any of us. This name surprised me on this list, Tyreek Hill, because he's been paid somewhat recently.
I wonder how long that contract was.
Is he holding out because he's standing in solidarity with Tua, or?
No, I think it's just because those other receivers, to Hilla's point, got more, and he wants to be the highest paid receiver.
Interesting.
I wonder
He's
how
still
long...
one of the top 5 pass catchers, though.
Yeah, because he signed the 4-year, and what was that? This would be 3 years?
23.
So this is to 2026. But there is a potential out in 2025. So maybe that's why.
He's a guy that wouldn't surprise me if he ended up on a third team.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I don't think his allegiance lies now with the Dolphins by any means. Running back, Alvin Kamara, does he report?
No. I do not think so. And again, that's another one
I'll say
where
no to Kamara.
I don't think he's going to report. And the sad part is what leverage does he really have?
Well, yeah, he's nearing 30 years old also.
Right. And that's the thing they went out. I'm going to pull up his name because otherwise I'm going to blank on it.
Yeah, just side note. Tyreek Hill is still tied for third most highest paid. It's Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, and then Amon-Ra and Tyreek make pretty much the same.
Kendre Miller out of TCU. That was who I was thinking of. They drafted him last year. They were very high on him before his injury. They have Jamal Williams in-house. They could get by without Alvin Kamara, who hasn't looked like Alvin Kamara in a couple of years. And you could have a chicken or the egg debate and say, well, that's because of who his quarterback is. It's because of who the offensive structure is. But he hasn't looked like...
he also got in some trouble and couldn't play. So some
of
this is also on him.
Right, exactly. So, I don't know what the reasoning would be outside of wanting more money, but at the end of the day, have you earned that money?
Yeah, because, he hasn't ever in his entire career played a full season, by the way. He played 12 games last year, 13 the year before, 10, 10, 9, 13, 3.
Isn't he the one that has a lot of offspring? Is the best way I'll put it?
I think he does too, yeah.
So maybe that's
Tyreek Hill definitely does.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Oh, no, Tyreek Hill, that's the reason he can't leave Miami.
I want to real quick read this list because I mentioned earlier that Trevor Lawrence landed 94 on the NFL Top 100. So if you don't know, they obviously start at 100 and they build down towards the top. So today, the 100 to 81 were released. 100 comes in at Zaire Franklin, Levante David, Cam Hayward, Terry McLaurin, Deion Dawkins, Julian Love, Trevor Lawrence, Harrison Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Tariq Woolen, Devonta Smith, Budda Baker, Chris Lindstrom, Hassan Reddick, Saquon Barkley, Tristan Wirfs, DK Metcalf, Derwin James, Montez Sweat, Kirk Cousins.
So Kirk Cousins is ahead of Trevor Lawrence.
Yep. So is Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't surprise me.
5 years ago, yes. But
I've
now
enjoyed listening to the national discourse surrounding both of those Achilles injuries and the recovery time because people have questions about Kirk Cousins at 35 coming back from one, but seemingly Aaron Rodgers at age 39, because whatever mumbo jumbo
he learned in Egypt.
He's going to be fine coming off the Achilles. Kirk Cousins, question marks, but still interesting to see both of them ahead of Trevor. Don't get me wrong, Kirk Cousins was having a career year before he got hurt.
Yeah, and Aaron's literally happened almost a year. It was the first week, so a lot longer that he's had to heal, so maybe that's why the conversation, I think, is a little different too. But it is wild, because when you just go back, I think let's look at that last year in Green Bay, because they went 8-9 that year, and he had 3,600 yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Like in the last years before that, 4 interceptions, 5, 4, 2, 6. Like it almost doubled, tripled his interceptions that last year before he left Green Bay.
Would people here be upset if Trevor Lawrence missed OTAs to go on a safari in Egypt?
Well, Doug would have given him mandatory minicamp off, so no, they wouldn't have cared.
I think the Jags would have handled it better because the way that Robert Saleh, he was pretty much like, it's unexcused. Aaron's not here. Like, it was a weird way to approach it, but it almost felt like there was some tension between that. Like,
but yet they knew about it.
Yeah, they knew about it, but he was like, he pretty much he knows. He's saying he's not going to be here to go to Egypt, and I guess it was like a pre-planned thing. But the way that Robert Saleh approached it was really weird because I think that Doug would calm people. Like, he'd be like, this is something we've known about for a while. We're all good. Trevor has had this vacation planned before we knew dates, and we're good. But Robert Saleh was just like, nope, unexcused. He's not here.
All right, Taylor, we have lunch for 2 to give away.
We do. Lunch on the ladies to 2. Lunch for 2 on us to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call. Caller number 3-641-1010.
Sounds good. All right, time now to cool down.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
I enjoyed our exercise going through our way too early 53-man projections, but perhaps it's not too early because training camp less than 48 hours away for your Jacksonville Jaguars. I may tweet out a picture of it. It's chicken scratch. Good luck if you can read it. We know it'll change in the next few weeks.
We can always type it up if you'd prefer.
Nah.
Taylor, what you got?
I'm going to go off of that too. Some of the interesting things that we have to look forward to now that training camp is here, football's back, we're excited, and we just went through some of our predictions, and we had the main big starters. Obviously, we were all we had pretty much the same. It was beyond that. There were some questions, and our offensive lines looked a little different. Our running backs room looks a little different. Our receiver rooms looked a little different. Our defensive line, our corners, all of that looked a little bit different. So it's going to be really interesting to see some of those depth competitions. And then also the guys that are heading into year 2, year 3, how much we can get out of some of those guys. Because God forbid someone like Evan Ingram goes down, it could possibly be a disaster in that tight end room if we don't see major improvements.
As I was going through my 53-man roster, one thing stuck out to me, and Taylor, I think you had 5 linebackers. Mia and I had 4. If you are running a 4-3, you might need more than...
No, I have 5.
You have 5? Okay,
yeah.
I only have 4. So for mine, that's going to be an issue if they only have 4 inside linebackers and they're running a 4-3.
Well, but that's also why you have the practice squad. And I also started filling out my practice squad as well. So a young guy like Andrew Parker out of App State, hey, maybe you start developing him in an incubator and you pull him up from the practice squad, or you go out and you sign a vested veteran and you throw him on the practice squad. That's the beauty of it, having 16 slots available.
Mm-hmm. That's bonus. You did practice squad. Taylor and I did not even start to think about practice
Well,
squad.
it's because as I was going through and I'm like, okay, I don't have Adam Gotsis on my 53, but
Right,
I have him as a
either.
vested veteran there. I don't have Greg Jr., but I have him on the practice squad. So,
yeah, I do think that when we do this exercise a few weeks from now, after we have seen multiple training camp practices, and again, it starts on Wednesday, that our ideas will look a little different. And that's a good thing. You don't want it to be on paper now and nothing changes through the few weeks of training camp. You want it to be, like you mentioned.
Actually, this person's surprising you, or this is a battle we didn't know was going to be a battle. Those are the ones that you hope for, because that means they're drafting right.
Yes, absolutely. And just a reminder, like I said, Florida State meets with ACC Media up in Charlotte at 3 p.m. So we will certainly break down some of the things that Mike Norvell said, as well as some of the other players as well. All right, that's going to do it for us today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Don't go anywhere. XL Primetime comes up next. These heels are made for talking, and we will talk to you tomorrow.